What's going on, everybody? Jay Lauda here. Just wanted to go over a quick video on how my latest track on Univack called The Frequency was made. A couple things here, and I'm going to try to do this for upcoming releases to kind of give everybody some of the methods that I use when I make music. Maybe it'll help some of you. Most likely, a lot of you do a lot of the same things, so some of it might be redundant, but I'm just hoping that, maybe it helps somebody out there. Just a quick little instance on my tracks. I took a couple classes with Tim Penner a few years ago, and he really helped me kind of get things organized because I have a tendency to be a little bit all over the place when I make music, and he helped me hone down everything. So one of the things he taught were the 4 food groups. So here they are, and mine are 5 actually, but you have the kick, the bass, the drums, the melody, and the effects. So the kick has its own group. The bass, in this case, I mean, if you could see, I used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different channels. Here's the drums. I got a clap, a tom, a shaker, percussion, which is probably just a loop of like congas. I like to throw something like that in there. Hi-hats, percussion loop, which it looks like I just used a loop here. Yep. And a closed hat, and then an open hat, which I use those quite a bit. Always have a closed, and then I usually throw an open hat somewhere later, as you can see here in the arrangement. I'll go closed, and then like right around 2 minutes 30 seconds I'll throw an open just to keep adding energy. And then I have some kind of like little percussion sound that I make with operator. I'll let you hear that one really quick. Let's see. Let's see if I can solo this and solo that. There we go. So here's that. Nothing crazy. But when you add it all together, as long as I don't botch the microphone here, you can hear like a full groove. So it's all supposed to go together, kind of like a call and response thing. And I think that's definitely a big thing with, any kind of electronic music. Probably, I don't know a ton about every other music, but having like a call and a response. So, like a part where you have something happen and then something answers it. And you can do it like, every 4 beats, or you can do it, every 8 beats. You could do it all over the place. It doesn't matter. You just have 2 synths, or maybe a percussion and a synth, or different kinds of drums, and you make them talk to each other. And it just, that really creates a groove. I think that creates a groove more than anything else, if you think of everything along like a call and response type deal. Another thing that I really always work on is a lot of one-shots in my tracks. In this case, I have a couple that were pretty used quite throughout the track, and they were, I think, diva like effects presets. So I have one called the Bubbler, and then I have another one that is called Alien Canyon. And I wanted to use those to kind of create like a really dark atmosphere for this track. I'll let you hear those now too. Just gotta set the solos again. So let's go down here, set that, and then I got these 2 ones right here, Bubbler and Alien Canyon, right there, right there. So I'll give you an idea. They have a cool sound to them. This one's going to play right here. So, again, atmosphere. That second one was the bubbler. Just trying to create atmosphere with everything. But I will sprinkle out one-shots throughout the entire track. And as you can see, these are all different areas that have them. And you'll get the idea that it's just because we're talking about looped music, and I think that you need to have some original things in there to keep it interesting. I mean, some of these sounds I'll use once or twice, and a lot of times I'll pull them from the actual music process. So like I have a couple outboard synths, and I'll write stuff, and then I won't use it. It won't be a main part of the track. I might think I'm writing a lead, and I'm like, this doesn't work anymore. You don't have to throw it out. You can use it, chop it up, and make it into little swells and little crashes. And the cool part is they're obviously already in key because you were writing in that key to begin with. So, you know, the things that you replace or take out, they don't have to be thrown out. They can be pretty useful. So that's something to hold on to as well. And like I said, you'll see some of these are used once in a while, like this reverse bass here. And some of them are used quite a bit more in the terms of the Alien Canyon and the bubbler that I used. So just something to show under the effects. I do have lots of that. Obviously you have your builds and your risers and your downers and all that stuff, and your snare rolls. I throw all those into that part. The next section I have is the melody. That's like the meat and potatoes of everything. I try to always think of it in terms of having things like arpeggios, pads, you know, because I write progressive house. I mean, those are huge, huge main things. You know, a lot of times the lead is some form of arpeggio, and, you know, that's going to be automating over time, and pads in the background, anything that creates some kind of atmosphere. This one had a nice lead that came together. I wrote it with Ableton Drift, so just goes to show you don't need crazy hardware or $5,000 synthesizers to write something. You can make it off of just your Ableton stuff. And, you know, I'll tell you, and other people always say less is more. You don't need all this stuff, even though I do have a couple outboard synths because I don't know. But again, I don't need them. It's just, I guess sometimes it's nice to have the hands-on thing. Does it sound better? I mean, that's debatable. I guess sound thing is, it's an opinion. But yeah, this was written with an Ableton synth, and I mean, they've come such a long way. I remember Ableton 5, and I didn't think they sounded so great back then. And now, I mean, they truly are amazing. I think they are just as good as any plug-in. But hey, if you have Serum or you have Diva, then that's fine too. I'm going to solo this so you can hear it. So let's solo the mic again, and then I'll let you hear the lead that I put together, because that was probably what carried the track the most. Alright, so this was the main part. There was a build-up. It would come through, and then the lead would come through like this. And not to beat a dead horse, but talking about call and response, it's kind of in the lead too. So if you look at it, you have the first part, dun, 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 and then it answers with dun, 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 dun. So not different sounds, same sound, but still has that call and response feel, and that's what makes it work. That's the part that really carries the track, and if I didn't have that part, I don't think the track would have worked. It would have just been a nothing track. There's nothing to remember. It's got some cool build-ups and everything like that, but without that part, there'd be nothing to carry it. And so, I mean, you can hear it. I'll play it again, and then I'll unsolo it, and you'll hear it go with the whole track. So we'll go over to here, and we'll start. hopefully you heard there the utility of the one-shots and the little effects, because again, you get the same thing looping over and over and over again. So just like little sprinkles of sounds that you can throw on and have fun with it. Throw echoes on it, throw delays on it. Just throw it into different parts just to add things. Like in the old days with the 90s trance and stuff, it was always just like a crash cymbal or something. But now you can make anything a crash. Any kind of cymbal you can make like a reverse cymbal. You can try different things and throw them in different places, and you just kind of feel it out of what sounds good. So that's the lead that carries it. One thing that people seem to really like about this track was the winding. I'll let you hear that build real quick right here. So that was the vocal that I took a sample, pitched it down, and it's right here. I labeled it Vox for whatever reason. I just took a sample and I pitched it down. I probably resampled it. That's why the pitch says 0 on there. And just played it over and over. Here's it coming up with a filter. And then I stuttered at the end where you hear the... I was just messing with that, and I was like, you know what sounds kind of cool is a bass doing the same thing. So that's what this bass growl is. And you can see if you look real close, there's the 16th notes in there, and you have that part. Just a regular bass sound. What was this one? This was saw. Yep, saw wave. How many oscillators? Yeah, 3. I like to overdo it sometimes, detune them a little bit, but yeah. So that's the preset, and then I most likely adjusted it to make it a little more growly, I guess would be the word. So there's that for you too. And I did say the build, and then I showed a different part of the track, so let's get to that really quick. Let's see. That would have been this part rising up. Let's see. So there you can see it was just a MIDI note that I ran an LFO on. It's the note D. And I did it in a chord, so D3, D2. And I just ran an LFO on it. And then at the end, I brought up the tuning to make the pitch rise and just did a little winding effect by bringing the LFO up and then the rate back down, and then it kind of fades away into the frequency part. And so just a winding sound. Not the first person to do it, not going to be the last person to do it, but I felt like for this one it worked, and brought it into a nice drop and kept a lot of energy. So that is pretty much it for this one. If you want to know anything else about it, feel free to leave a comment. I'm going to be leaving these for my releases going forward. Just take 5-10 minutes, go through the track, and see where this goes. I love talking about this stuff. I could talk about it all day, and YouTube actually greatly helped me in terms of learning to write music. So I'm just trying to pay it forward to other people to see if hopefully it'll help them, and see where this goes. So thanks again. Take care. Thanks for listening.